Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tech Gamers World. In this video, I'm going to provide you with a quick and easy, hands-on tutorial and demonstration on how to create and configure helicopter flight control profiles for flight sticks in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Let's do this. Okay, hello everyone and welcome back. So as I said in the introduction, in this video I'm going to show you how to create and configure a helicopter flight control profile for a Thrustmaster flight stick. Now this is Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is being done on a Microsoft Xbox, but the same exact principle applies to the PC version of Microsoft Flight Simulator that can be played on Microsoft Windows. So let's get started here. So, like I said, here we are in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We are at the main menu. The very first thing I want to do is plug in my Thrustmaster flight stick. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So you'll see that I am showing a new device detected. We have detected the following new device and have applied default control presets. You can review and customize the controls here. T-Flight HOTAS 1. Now, I have a Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS 1 flight stick. If you have a different flight stick, you do the exact same thing. You just plug it into the USB port as long as it's supported on the system that you're playing it on. You will get this new device detected almost instantaneously. If you do have a Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS 1 or HOTAS 4 flight stick, you obviously want to make sure that the switch on it is set for the system that you're using. So in my case, the Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS 1 has a switch on the front of it that says Xbox or PC. I'm setting mine on Xbox because I'm playing it on an Xbox. If you're playing it on a PC, you would make sure it's set for PC. You would also want to have the Thrustmaster drivers installed and be running at least the newest versions of Microsoft Windows 10 or Microsoft Windows 11. Okay, so let's go ahead here and get started. So let's go ahead here and hit Customize. So we have to set up a flight control profile. So as you can see, we are now in the Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS 1. And it says T-Flight HOTAS 1 Xbox Helicopter. If you were playing the PC version, it would say T-Flight HOTAS 1 PC Helicopter or something similar. And just to show you here, if you hit the right button here, you have different profiles, and these are different profiles that I have created for fixed-wing aircraft. Profile 2, I have different profiles depending on what kind of plane I'm flying. But for purposes of this video, we're going to be focused on the helicopter here. So under the helicopter controls options, there are a bunch of menus. So let's go ahead here and we'll expand them all here and go through top to bottom to show you what you want to set, what you want to adjust. So cockpit camera, this is how you toggle around the different views that are inside the cockpit. And as you can see, the defaults are all selected. I typically just leave these alone. You really don't have a whole lot of reason to change these because these are the point of view buttons. That is the hat that is on the flight stick. Unless you have a very specific reason, I would not adjust these. External camera here, the same thing. This is when you are outside of the helicopter looking at the external view. And again, it is going to be joystick POV up, POV left, POV down, POV right. POV stands for point of view. And F2 will reset the external view to the rear of the helicopter. Instrument views, joystick point of view left, joystick point of view right. The same thing there. Cockpit external view mode, this will switch you between the two views here, and you can assign whatever button you like. I leave it the default as the button right underneath the flight stick. So we have your standard menu buttons here. This, F1 and previous. I don't really change these. I don't think that you really have a reason to. Display air traffic control, very important when you're taking off, landing, stuff like that. If you like to watch and monitor air traffic control, or you're playing the game with very realistic settings where you're doing your own air traffic control and stuff like that. Okay, getting into the flight control surfaces here and the assigned actions and motors and stuff like that. So under miscellaneous, you have a toggle rotor clutch switch, toggle nameplates, toggle engine governor switch, toggle CFD, set pause off, display map. All of these buttons are pre-assigned to YA, F2, B, menu, and next. Again, you can change whatever you want here. I like to leave them alone. Toggle rotor clutch switch is very good and you'll use that a lot when you're flying in a helicopter. The same thing for the toggle engine governor switch. If you want to, slow down the engine, stuff like that, you're going to be using these kind of different things. Flight control surfaces here, primary control surfaces. So for these, this is all just the joystick axis stuff here. Set cyclic lateral axis. So, left, right, up, down. Incremental tail rotor, decrement tail rotor, stuff like that. So, be very careful if you're going to adjust these. I would only recommend you adjust these if you're very skilled and advanced. Don't reverse access either. It'd be very bad for you. Again, I would just leave these the default. And control trimming surfaces. Rotor trim reset, increase rotor longitudinal trim, increase rotor lateral trim, decrease rotor longitudinal trim, and decrease rotor lateral trim. Again, different buttons and joystick point of view, down, left, up, right. Again, I would just leave these alone, unless you're very, advanced and you like to have a very certain kind of set. I usually just leave them. It works very well that way. And rotor brake, very important. Activate the rotor brake. So that's X there. Very important when, landing, slowing down, stuff like that. Collective access. So joystick L access 1. And leave that alone there. Again, increase helicopter throttle. So this basically is the increase helicopter throttle, decrease helicopter throttle. And you want to leave those alone because that is what your throttle stick on the Thrustmaster or any flight stick is really going to be for. I mean, that's pretty much it. Helicopters don't have as many control surfaces as planes, jets, stuff like that. So it's a lot easier to set up your control profile for a helicopter. So you want to make sure you save it. When you go to exit, it will just save. You can hit Y and apply and save, and which I just did. Now, what you just saw me do here applies to any flight stick that is supported with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Depending if it's the Xbox or the PC, that could be a Thrustmaster. It could be any flight stick that is supported. When you plug in that flight stick, you should immediately get what I saw before, which is where it props up and says a new device has been detected. And then you want to go ahead and configure it. Definitely go in and validate all of these settings are correct before any flight, because you don't want to start off, get halfway to where you're going and realize that something's wrong and it causes you to spin out of control to ultimately crash, make things difficult. You can obviously go in and fix it anytime you want. Just go into the menu, go to options, control options, and then locate your profile that you're flying with. Now I'll show you here just real quick if you were using a controller. It has the same, I just have to wait for it to load here. So a controller is a little bit different. There's a bunch of other stuff here for different controls here, but it's basically all the same. because you have different kind of things on your controller, so you can do more than a flight stick can, because you've got the analog joysticks, you've got the digital up, down, left, right, all the other buttons, stuff like that. So basically everything is here. Here's drones, external camera views, fixed camera views, instrument views, slew mode. So again, there's more controls when it comes to a gamepad controller, like an Xbox controller, than you're going to get with a flight stick. But honestly, the flight stick is the way to fly if you have one, just because they are so much more precise and just so much more fun to fly with. But again, you can definitely do the exact same thing with a flight stick that you can with a controller, and you can do the same thing with a controller that you can with a flight stick, with modifications obviously as needed. What I do, especially when I fly helicopters, is I keep my flight stick right in front of me. I keep my controller, gamepad, keyboard, mouse, whatever system I'm playing on, right near me as well. And I know to jockey around between things if I want different views. If I want to get a certain view of a helicopter, just for that scenic panoramic shots, I typically use the analog stuff on the gamepad to move around the plane. Stuff like that. It helps visualize things, especially when you're taking off, landing, stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. If anyone ever needs any help at all configuring a Thrustmaster HOTAS 1 or any Thrustmaster flight stick, please definitely drop a comment on my video and I will certainly help you out. And that goes the same for anybody. If you have any kind of flight stick for any game, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, PC, definitely let me know. I would be glad, and it would be my pleasure to help you out, as I love this kind of stuff, and I love video games, flight simulators, space simulators, anything that needs flight sticks. It's my thing. They're so awesome. And since Microsoft introduced helicopters in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, it added even a whole new level of fun. If everybody could please click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you enable notifications. I'm going to have more new and exciting content coming soon. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Keep on gaming.